Being sober made me realize I was not a victim of life, but I was a victim of my choices. And let's talk about that. Yes, I'm bringing back the sobriety content. My name is Daisy. I drank every day for around 6 years, and in April, not only did I get married, but I turned 4 years sober. And without sobriety, I never would have been married. There's no way. Pick up a bottle of alcohol one day and immediately become someone who's considered an alcoholic. It can be a fast or slow process in which your body becomes mentally and physically dependent upon it, and at that point you're usually too deep to realize that you can't just put it down. We find ourselves at a party or a get together and we have a drink, and then subconsciously, maybe not even fully consciously, we realize we're feeling better with alcohol in our system than we're feeling without it, because it quiets these obsessive thoughts, it quiets the trauma, it quiets the loss, it quiets the pain, it subsides the pain, it makes everything a little less noticeable. So even though you're not in a state that's better, because the best thing is to, right, be traumaless without alcohol, but it's just not the reality of the way the world works, unfortunately. And again, I had a traumatic childhood, and a lot can be said for that. We can blame my alcoholism on that if we want. But at some point, my choice was to not deal with that, to not pay for the medical attention, to not get diagnosed, to deny that I had issues or problems that could be fixed doing it the right, long, hard, expensive way that I should have done way sooner than finding alcohol. But alcohol found me, and addiction took hold of my life. And eventually, I was no longer a victim of the childhood that I had no choice of. Like, you don't get to choose your parents. You don't get to choose what happens to you as a child. You don't get to control the environment. But as an adult, you do. So at some point, my choices were just my choices. And me finding alcohol before finding a way to properly deal with my mental health issues given to me by my childhood was my responsibility. That was my fault. And so I was not a victim of life. Maybe at some point I was, but it switches and you become a victim of your own choices. The victim mentality mindset is something that intrigues me so much and that I've wanted to cover and talk about, thinking about bringing back my podcast, because my biological father is someone who has gone so long living his life in the victim mentality that I don't know if he'll ever realize, it does not matter who communicates this to him, no matter how many times he gets in trouble with the law, and no matter how far he goes with breaking the law, he is not someone who recognizes, acknowledges, or even believes that he is just a victim of his choices at this point. I like to use the metaphor of we are dealt a deck of cards at life, and we might not have a good hand, okay? You don't have to play that game. You don't have to play with that hand, and you don't have to bet your life. You can walk away from that table. You can go pick up a different hand. You can ask for a reshuffle. You can put in the work to have a different hand. So we don't ever choose the hand that's dealt to us at birth, but we have that opportunity to change it later in life. So I challenge you, if you're struggling from alcoholism, I know a lot of people message me, a lot of people email me, a lot of people get a hold of me on Instagram even. I challenge you to look at the woe me, why does this always happen to me? Why is this bad thing happening right now in my life? Challenge that from I was cursed to live a life that looks like this to how is what I'm doing, what choice am I making that put me in this situation? What choice led me to that party that led to that car accident, that led to that arrest? What choice are you making? What position are you putting yourself in that might be your responsibility, that might be your physical, actual choice currently that you could change moving forward to become more the person you want to be and less of the person that you never thought you'd end up being?